I heard it through the wire that the world's gonna catch on fire. The stakes couldn't get any higher, and we're finally growing tired. Way up high in that Minnesota sky, that's where you'll see it by and by. They say it's coming any day, and we're all gone the other way. Gonna live as long as I'm alive.
Me again. Every year when this pollen starts falling, I wheeze and scroll through Facebook to see where everybody's going for spring break and how beach ready your bodies all are, while I look for a bathing suit that will hit my ankle. Now, I'll admit it, I'm often a bit jealous of your pretty toenail polish as I sit here on my sofa eating Cheetos and watching your kid build sandcastles. Now, I know y'all probably fought a minute before and the kids were one snapshot away from a meltdown, but still, it kind of stings, I'm just saying. Well, Corona, the great equalizer, struck this year and, of course, completely leveled the vacation playing field. And wouldn't you know, this year was the year we were supposed to go to Ireland for spring break. The real Ireland, not the putt-putt one. We actually had scheduled our first trip out of the country as a family, and that damn bat ruined it. Oh, sorry for saying damn. Drastic times. Oh, wait, I'm not supposed to say drastic. Mental adjustment. And it wasn't a bat. Well, I need to stop asking my cousin Nestor to debrief the news conferences for me. Anyway, so times are kind of hard right now, and me being a motivational speaker, albeit an employed one, I was determined to put a positive spin on this year's spring break, or spring broke as we call it. So I gathered everybody together for a family meeting. Now there's only 3 of us, so it's not as cool as when they all gathered together on Blackish. And I announced that while we can't go to Ireland, spring break would still be a go. My dog Max raised his eyebrow dubiously. Now he was the only one who was happy Ireland got canceled. And finally he stopped stress eating. Had been doing it ever since the day he saw kennel written on the calendar. This year, I announced, dragging out the moment for effect, and for the fact that we had nothing else to do in this moment, or the next one, thank you, Corona, I announced that even though Ireland was out, spring break was still in, and it was going to be a surprise. The entire family rolled their eyes and got back up to go do nothing again. Max went and ate a piece of the couch. You see, they thought I was kidding. I was not. So imagine their surprise when on the first day of spring break, I said, pack a snack bag for the car, we're off. Now they played along, I think just to see if I would really do it. I did. We packed a snack bag, threw Max in the backyard with a chew bone the size of my thigh, and hopped into the car. We rolled down the windows, sang songs. I drove over the speed limit. I mean, so what if I get a ticket? Surely they're not going to make me pay it. I'm just saying. Thank you, free money from the government. I'm still hoping I don't have to pay for my next OBGYN appointment, which I heard they're going to hold on Zoom. Yikes. So we sang to some good old ladies' tunes while I drove. Let the good times roll. Now, my family started to look suspicious when I drove around the block. And then I did it again and again. The neighbors walking their dogs looked confused as they waved to us again and again. One of them said, where are you going? We're on lockdown. I said, spring break. And I circled the block again. We're here, I squealed. After doing this for about 30 minutes, we pulled back into our own driveway. My son rubbed his eyes. He'd been sleeping in the back seat. He was not happy to see that our house was a surprise. I announced that this year for spring break, we are going to the guest room. That's right, the guest room, which hasn't seen a real guest since, 2004. And if you don't believe me, go lift up the throw pillows and you'll see their faded outline on the bedspread. The guest room, which also doubles as a closet, a laundry room, and I'm pretty sure is where I lost the treadmill. Ta-da! I shouted as I threw open the door and the smell of coconut Febreze hit us in the face. Now, just as my timer had done its job, the Beach Boys began serenading us. As I handed everybody their towel and led them to their beach chair, it was set in the middle of the floor in front of the computer screen ocean. Thanks to the space heater, the room was a perfect balmy temperature. My son and husband stared at me in horror like, you can't really expect we're going to go through this. Oh, I did. Put on your bathing suit, I sang. I got magazines and snacks and the water feels great. I dipped my toes into the water foot massager I got my husband for his birthday. It took a while, since not everybody's bathing suit fit after 3 weeks of us eating like the world is ending. But finally, we took our seats, grabbed our Diet Cokes with the cute little straw umbrellas, and we watched the beautiful ocean with the small click here to buy toilet paper ad in the bottom right-hand corner of the screen. I made Max come join us since he never gets to come on family beach trips, and judging by his expression, I don't think he'll be disappointed in the future. About 5 minutes into our vacation, my son starts asking when it'll be over. In a little while, I said. First, we got to play volleyball. And out we went to the front yard in our bathing suits to hit the deflated ball I dug out from under the back deck. Now, technically, it was a badminton net, but it still worked. I could see curtains flickering in the neighbors' windows. They were probably just jealous. I get it. Been there. Then we had a wet t-shirt contest in the backyard, which I won hands down, according to the neighbor in the back who let me use his picnic table for the dance floor. I think it was kind of creepy that he and his family stayed there to watch and cheer from their deck in Bermuda shorts and socks and holding red Solo cups. Then I made everybody do Jell-O shooters. No, we didn't use real liquor. Turns out that too many of those, even without alcohol, is not a good idea. Hashtag sugar hangover. Then we sat and watched the ocean some more, and I took a handful of wet spaghetti noodles, and I threw it on my son's cheek, and I yelled, jellyfish, like I do every year, and my son squealed just like a girl, just like he does every year. Then I made us all sit under the heat lamp we used back when Junior had acne so we could get a little color in his cheeks. Then I made him let me put aloe vera on it, because darn if that kid lets me get close to him anymore. At least give me this. Then we had shrimp on the grill and hush puppies brought in from the Uber driver, who said my son should definitely not be upset all the kids in the neighborhood saw his mother playing volleyball in the front yard in her bathing suit. Hashtag cougar. And I made everybody change into khaki pants and a white shirt. No shoes or socks, so we could get our annual family beach trip picture taken by the old lady across the street who spends all day in her garden, despite the fact that she can't see and nobody has the heart to tell her that her bushes look like a serial killer went after them. I'm just saying. So the whole family beach picture might have to be photoshopped again. Then we took a long walk after the sun went down around the neighborhood with the dog and a metal detector. And every once in a while I would yell, I think I see a crab, and I would squeal and run. And we all watched the same movie on the same screen together, just like I force us to do every year. And I made them choose one of those movies that was most likely stored on a beach rental shelf. So it was a toss-up between Steel Magnolias and Chevy Chase. We went with Chevy, and it was still just as funny. Now, while I was having the time of my life, not spending money, no driving hours up and back, cleaning a rental, getting sand in my crotch, my boys weren't exactly team players. Oh, they went along, but I saw the eye rolls. They thought it was stupid. And they were happy the trip was only going to last one day. Like they had better things to get to. But I had a moment. I did. Now, it's just a tiny moment, but it was enough. It happened when I gave Junior his annual beach trip money to go spend at the Wings, like we do every year. Only this year, Wings was our dining room table, covered with a plastic beach-themed tablecloth, and displayed with price tags was a collection of beach trinkets we purchased over the years that had collected in the bottom drawer of my work desk. You've got to be kidding, my son said. You actually want me to spend this $5 buying a bunch of junk we already own? I wasn't kidding. Don't forget tax, I said. Now, his eyes started to glaze over, and I knew he was about to phone this one in. And then he stopped, and he looked closer. Hey, that's Herbie, he said in wonder, picking up a tiny yellow shell with wiggly eyes. And in that moment, my son wasn't 15 anymore. He was 6, and the proud new father of a tiny shell he named Herbie, a shell that went everywhere with him for months, even after one of the eyes fell off. Hey, Dad, he yelled, here's the pocket knife I got you for Father's Day. I spent all that money on your gift that year, which isn't like me. And we agreed. Oh, honey, my husband said, remember Shark? And he held up a ratty little gray shark wearing a tie. That shark kept my son from being afraid of the dark when he was 4. And then there was the shot glass with the surfboard on it that my son had collected his teeth in when they fell out to leave for the tooth fairy. And then we laughed over the year we forgot and made up this huge story about the tooth fairy being abducted. And then there was the mug that said best dad ever that made my husband smile every time he drank out of it. And the empty hermit crab cage for all those years we swore this time we'd remember to feed him. And time stood still for me in that moment. I like to think it did for all of us. We just sort of stood there, suspended in time, as we looked at things and a trip that we'd always taken for granted and now stood in quarantine, realizing how quickly they can disappear. So yeah, it wasn't a beach trip we'd been planning, and maybe they complained about it more than not. But every time I look at that picture on my desk, the only one I decided not to Photoshop, the one of us standing like idiots in our front yard in khakis and bare feet, with our heads cut off because an old woman can't see worth a dime or work a camera. Every time I see that picture on my desk, I'm going to stop for a minute. And I'm going to be reminded of that awful spring break we spent in the guest room that actually might just have been the best one of all. I don't know. I guess it's how you choose to see it. Only you can write that story. Anyway, gotta go. I think I'm going to throw my son a prom. Shh, don't tell him. It's a surprise.